Hey, howdy, how's it going? You saw the thumbnail, you saw the title, you understand why I'm here. I'm going to be talking about Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. One thing I will preface is that I have not bought the game. I didn't pre-order, I didn't do anything. I might buy the game in the future if it happens to get really good, but unless my friends are playing or the gameplay or story gets interesting, I won't be touching this game. Before we get into it, just know that if you think any differently to what I had to say, or you have different opinions or different views on what I have to say about this game, comment it down below. It helps the video with this algorithm, and you get to say your ideas and thoughts and all that sort of stuff, so it's a win-win. One issue this game suffered from quite literally on the first day wasn't even server issues, but actually a beginning the game issue. If you happen to not see it online anywhere, people that had pre-ordered the deluxe edition of the game, they were able to play early. I don't know exactly how long. And some people who had loaded their games, good example being Game Riot, they opened up the game to be greeted with endgame loot and having the whole story basically finished. Now this wouldn't be a problem if you had saves like in, Arkhamknight, Arkham Asylum, all that stuff, because then you could just start over. But because this game is always online, you are subjected to having server maintenance. It's been proven from time to time now with games like Payday 3 where not having an offline mode will most definitely hurt the game to begin with. It just doesn't make sense why they do this still. In a perfect world, we would have different saves, an offline mode, no battle passes, or an in-game shop. Oh, right. There's also an in-game shop. It's already in here. From what I could find, I believe the battle pass will be out once the game is fully released to everyone. But just to make things clear, a game like this would really benefit from allowing the player to be able to earn any cosmetic or loot that's in the game. The game is $70 or $100 if you buy the deluxe edition. There's no reason why there should be an in-game shop. In-game shops most of the time make sense for free-to-play games, okay? I can give, you give credit where credit's due. It's a free game. You should have to pay for, the extra things. But paying $70 for the game to not even be able to get the stuff that you want that looks cool is crazy to me. You do get some free cosmetics, understand that, but, it's pretty bad. See, companies making money, I get it. I get that they have to do that for their, shop, whatever. It's probably a higher up thing. Maybe not. Doesn't even have to be. But listen, all you have to do for a legitimate game is, if you're going to want to make money from it, you just sell a large expansion. It includes the new character, perhaps. It may not even need to, it just has extra content in there. And by large expansion, I mean like literally an entirely new story, or something extra. Maybe like a DLC equivalent of like how Spider-Man does it, where you have 3 different DLCs. I wouldn't be opposed to that. Make it so that you can earn all of the outfits for the Joker when he comes out, as an example, because there's probably going to be a ton of shit in the shop that is just stuff that you can't get. Maybe I'm crazy. It could be a bad idea, it could be a good idea. But just know that a fully completed game is better than half of a game with post-launch content coming soon. One thing I almost forgot to mention was that, once again, for a lot of people, they weren't even able to receive the extra content and skins, all that they were supposed to for pre-ordering the game, or getting the deluxe edition. I will give credit here, they resolved this issue pretty quickly, I believe so. And also the server issues, that wasn't really that long, I don't think. I really like a lot of the outfits and looks of these characters. I also really enjoyed some of the voice acting, but there's also a few outliers. The Flash's suit and voice actor is good at times, but overall is kind of whack. If you didn't know, Scott Porter, he voices the Flash in this game and Heimdall from God of War Ragnarok. His voice and tone most of the time really works as a villain or someone who's just being a douche. Not not being rude to him or anything like that. He's just good at playing that type of thing. Or when he's, very sincere and caring. But I don't get the vibe of the Flash when he is mind controlled. He seems more like Deadpool rather than the Flash. And to be honest, I'm a little bit more used to Wally or, Grant Gustin's version of the Flash. And Wally West, meaning, Justice League Unlimited show. It's kind of what I'm used to. But Porter's voice doesn't really do this for me. It might grow on me, after time. I've watched a lot of clips. I do like the character, don't get me wrong, but could have been a little bit better. The suit for the Flash reminds me more of the Injustice 2's Reverse Flash suit, where it's kind of more armored, lacks breathability. It doesn't really feel like it's a suit, like it's too realistic. It's still at the end of the day a comic book or whatever. It doesn't make sense why it needs to be heavily armored or something along those lines. It makes sense for Batman, but it's also the Flash, so like he should be having less and less shit on so that he can move as fast as possible or something. I don't know. One last thing on the topic of the Flash is that the effects and graphics and all that stuff is just not that good. I'll be showing a couple clips here. It's just a lot of the times where he's moving quickly, he's showing off the speed force, his lightning, it just doesn't work. It feels like they didn't like have all the energy for it or something. They just were like, okay, we're just going to use the same particle 3 times. Now I get it, you know, lightning looks the same, whatever. You can make up whatever excuse, but comparing to like even the Flash movie, which didn't really do that good, that still looks good. And you know, a movie compared to a game, but let's be honest, you can make a whole movie out of a video game and vice versa. So if you really wanted to, but yeah, there you go. Nolan North, an amazing voice actor, don't get me wrong, just as much as Scott Porter. He voices Nathan Drake, Deadpool, Richtofen, and Superman in this game. And my problem for Superman is that Nolan's voice doesn't really feel like Superman. Tim Daly or George Newborn, you know, they have voiced Superman in numerous things, most specifically Justice League Unlimited. And you kind of get that impact of like a strong, brave, I wouldn't say soldier, but you know, Superman. You get that sort of vibe. You don't get that from North. It kind of just seems like a young guy who happened to be like Superman. I don't know. There's no real way to explain it, but it's just kind of like, seems like he's pretending, you know? And then when he's mind controlled, it kind of just seems like it's the Hulk a little bit at times. It's so weird. Those are mostly, you know, the negatives. I wouldn't say they're super negative, but it's just some sort of critiques from me. Here's some more positives, I'd say. Wonder Woman's voice actor, I'm going to completely butcher this, but Zara Vassell, whatever. She was honestly really good. I feel like she was perfect for Wonder Woman, and Wonder Woman's design is pretty good all around. She's actually clothed. Some people were bothered by the fact that she had pants. Doesn't make sense. But she has her lasso. She also has the sword and shield that she has. Nothing to complain about. She honestly, you know, pretty great. I couldn't really complain about that. Her character throughout this was pretty good. Green Lantern was honestly pretty good as well. I would say Dan White did a pretty good job at being John Stewart. The face, the suit, the everything, even his constructs are actually really good and, you know, better graphics than the Flash. I liked all of it. Now, saving the best for last, Kevin Conroy, Batman. Whether it's blinded by nostalgia or the fact that he has voiced so many different versions of Batman throughout the years, he is perfect. The suit for Batman was amazing. It felt like a bit of an improvement, more comic book accurate in a way. The face, his nightmare design, even the hairstyle they gave him, for this game at least. Kevin Conroy did an amazing job, especially when it was in moments where it was sad or anything along those lines. I really love Kevin Conroy's work. Now for everyone else, it's pretty much good. Nothing to complain about, nothing to be like super, you know, extravagant about. I do have to say that, you know, some looks were a little bit better than others. I don't like the idea behind, you know, replacing the original Deadshot with this one. If you don't know why they did this, it's because of Will Smith. That's it. Harley Quinn, Boomerang, King Shark, even Waller, they're pretty good all around. There are some times, though, where the facial movements are a little bit, you know, crazy, like it's not humanly possible, and I get, you know, comic or whatever. It's just, sometimes they just kind of, it's like they fucked up really badly on the skeleton or something with animation. Now, I might complain about a lot of this, and I do apologize. But this game, gameplay-wise, is very bland. It's basic. I would say cookie cutter, but it's not as bad as other games. You know, it's still got some elements of, you know, there's fun in there. And I know you can turn some of it off, but, you know, the HUD, the numbers flashing on the screen, just the amount of shit that's on the screen is really unnecessary. And I know there's going to be someone out there who says, you already said it yourself, you can already turn it off. Yeah, the fact is, though, is that that's on by default, which means that's the correct way, and, like, basically to play. That's not good. And for IGN complaining about the Flash boss fight, I gotta say, I kind of get what they were saying. The Flash being stopped by bullets is the dumbest thing ever, and I know that they complain about the Flash moving too fast, but like, come on. They should have just not had some of these characters mind controlled to begin with. It literally makes no sense. I say literally a lot, but the writing a lot of the time for this entire game was just not the greatest. It would have been a lot better if it was just Justice League. I don't know. These guys would have been amazing to see, you know, more of a story-driven game-wise. I don't know. But yeah, Green Lantern's boss fight was alright. It's just as boring as everything else, but nothing was super insane or cool, at least to me. You know, they could have been cool, the vibe that you get, especially Batman's. But a lot of it was just shoot at the boss, like Borderlands, and it was just like the boss will die, and that's it. It's like, oh, okay. So there's like really nothing that you feel like you're doing. You're just kind of there. I don't know. It was the same with the Superman boss fight. You didn't get to fight Wonder Woman, sadly. So if you were looking forward to that, that never happened. She's purely there for every cinematic. Not all of them, but good amount. And a lot of the missions are like defend this or payloads that you push and defend. Man, I know this is a completely different game in comparison to the original Arkham games, but like this was just a chore simulator. Like the graphics in comparison, it's night and day on the difference. There's so many videos that you can find online. I'll have one here. You can tell like this isn't top tier. What we should start out with first for this section is the overall story, and I gotta say, from every cutscene to bit of gameplay that I have seen, you can tell that this is a heavily live service game. The starting tutorial can take up to 2 hours to complete, and at the end, you are just shown what endgame content will most likely look like. And now I know it's more gameplay than story, but like, the game literally starts by giving this super long tutorial that the Arkham games, I felt like did pretty quickly. They made you feel like you were involved, but you're learning at the same time. You know, you could even bring it back to the way that Batman Arkham Asylum did it. You learned some of the moves, but at the same time you dealt with villains or other people. You were actually participating. It didn't matter really what you did for this 2 hour long tutorial. The actual story starts by introducing the main characters. You already get how this works. You get the gist. We get a tease at the fact that Deadshot is now black, which I'm not gonna lie, this was a terrible retcon. In Batman Arkham City, we easily defeated Deadshot as a side quest villain, and I didn't mind that at all. But the problem with this retcon is that numerous people didn't even know that this version of Deadshot existed. So it doesn't make sense how he now magically decides to show himself. Deadshot in somewhat more recent animation is the race that he usually is, I would say. I have no problem for him, you know, being, you know, black or anything like that. But, you know, like I said, it's a Will Smith thing. He existed in online, you know, movie. More people saw that. So I'm guessing they don't want people confused. But now it's like more confusing because it's like they posted a Twitter thing saying, he's dead now. It's like, that doesn't, you guys just did that for your own benefit. Like that doesn't, you didn't need to do that. You could have just brought him, maybe it was a voice actor thing. I have no idea. Waller's assignment for the beginning is get the Flash out of Metropolis. We eventually see that the squad uses tech that was on display, and it's pretty interesting. The Speed Force Gauntlet is pretty sick. After which they are out and meet Green Lantern. Then we go through a slight cutscene pretty much and see that the Flash escaped Brainiac's ship and helped the Suicide Squad from being captured. And at this point, you can say that this is pretty hype. You kind of like what's going on. The Flash is probably one of the most unstoppable characters, so he's going to take out the entire league, right? Wrong. The Flash fights Green Lantern, not through a cutscene, but literally just through the environment, so you don't really get to see all of it. You don't really feel like you're there. And if it was more story-driven, you'd kind of feel like, you know, God of War sort of thing, you know, if that makes sense. You know, maybe some cinematics, it cuts easily, it pans in, whatever. It's kind of like that Spider-Man thing where it's like, you go through an entire cinematic and then the screen pulls out at the correct moment. That doesn't happen for this game. You can see a cut, you can see the change in lighting every time that a cutscene's about to start. Really bad. Anyways, the Flash is rescued. Harley and the gang bring him into the Batman experience, or like the museum. It's something that only does with Batman. And then we see how terrifying Batman is from the villain's point of view. 2 cops die, then Batman shows up. Batman single-handedly takes out the entire Suicide Squad by literally just being Arkham Batman. He one-punched King Shark and knocked him out. Like, this is important. Batman tries killing Harley Quinn, then the Flash stops the bullet and gets his ass whooped. Batman teleports away with the Flash, and we are left with the entire Batman museum. As a Batman Arkham fan, or an Arkham fan, whatever you want to call it, we are given all the information we could ever ask for when it comes to after Arkham Knight. The Nightmare Batman is real. It existed. Everyone knows that Batman is Bruce Wayne, and on top of that, after several years, Batman decided to stop being Nightmare Batman. And then he created the Justice League. They do use several years a lot of the time, if you didn't understand this. They use it a lot for games that aren't theirs, or they just don't want to make that, you know, specific connection so that they can kind of meddle with it for later. I don't really know. Origins did this. They said that, you know, from Origins to Asylum, there were several years. They didn't, you know, give an exact Fast forwarding a little bit, we see that Wonder Woman is also not affected by the mind control. This makes sense. Most of the people from the League shouldn't have even been affected by this stuff to begin with. They should have had numerous plans for this or something. Like, I don't get it. I'm going to skip a lot of this because majority of this game is side quests. We see that Poison Ivy is reborn, literally just the definition of how Groot works. I have no idea if this happened in the comments. I have no idea if this actually happened in the comics, but I do have to say, it kind of takes away from the fact that she gave up her life in Arkham Knight. You see that Lex Luthor is here. He is smart, as always. He's trying to take down the Justice League, and then he gets immediately kidnapped. We see that the Flash shows off how fast he is, and later on, Flash kills Lex. Literally just rips his heart out. Just no cool reverse Flash handshaking, just whoosh. Super cool. Shows how fast the Flash can be, and sometimes he just decides not to be. But keep in mind that Lex Luthor died here, okay? The Flash is fucking with the team again, and at this point, you start to realize that the music for majority of these cutscenes is, like, really loud. And maybe you just need to turn it down, but that shouldn't be a thing that you have to do. The music doesn't also fit, you know, the moment. It's just really out of place.
You want to see what a real hero can do? I'll show you.
And the Flash's effects and graphics are still ass. And also just the graphics in general, you can kind of tell in this area right here. Then Wonder Woman comes in, smacks the shit out of him, and compels him with the lasso of truth. Very serious moment. I actually liked it. Kind of ruined by the music. But I guess you have to shut that off to play this game.
Please, tell me how.
You have to kill us, Diana. We have to die to save the world.
Barry.
I hope that there's a universe out there where we got a game where we play as Wonder Woman and defeat the League instead of this, or even playing as Batman one last time and stopping the League, because it would have been amazing. Now, at this point, the Flash fights the squad and quite literally dies to bullets. Just bullets. That's it. That's all they've done is just shoot shit and manage to kill very important superheroes, especially, you know, one that shouldn't be able to die. And, you know, the Flash should have been able to snap all of their necks in like a second, you know, instead of like making it a boss fight. I don't know, it's really odd. Green Lantern shows up, he's about to kill the entire squad. Then a portal opens. They go through this portal and meet, who would have fucking guessed, it's Lex Luthor. Again, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, the multiverse excuse for this game is absolutely terrible. This was the only thing that they can come up with. The squad fights Green Lantern, and with like a yellow ring power battery thing, I just didn't look into this, I'm not gonna lie. They managed to be able to kill him. Then, pretty dope ass moment, King Shark somehow manages to put the Green Lantern ring on. Besides the fact that when a lantern dies, the ring is supposed to like fly away and like find someone else. King Shark created a big ass fucking megalodon to destroy the barrier around Brainiac's ship. So that was kind of dope. We also got this funny scene, which I'm not gonna lie, the memes with this face are super funny. Superman and Wonder Woman fight, and guess what? Somehow Superman doesn't die to being stabbed in the chest with kryptonite. Lex Luthor has a theory, and somehow Brainiac changed Superman's DNA. I'm not gonna lie, in writing, a lot of the time when people say somehow, that's just spewing bullshit. It's just, you know, the writers had no way of explaining that correctly. They're just like, you know, maybe it's possible. One thing I also wanted to add was that Wonder Woman died like a champ. She fought till she died. She had to accept that she indeed did need to kill her friends, and she went out fighting. We get a very important moment for those Arkham fans out there. We see Tim Drake's mask on the floor, implying that all of the Bat family members have basically died off screen because we don't see them the entire time of this game. And Batman gives details on how to stop all of the Justice League. Big problem with this. You market the game by saying that this is Arkham Batman, then completely you know, it's disrespectful, but I'm going to hold this till a little bit later, okay? Batman uses the fear toxin he created to become the Nightmare Batman in his own Batcave, might I add, so he has field advantage. And throughout the game, we could see that Batman was stalking the squad, so he had prep time. The game does a little fake out death scene, which wasn't really that good. I liked it better in Ragnarok. Batman specifically created this fear toxin for all his villains, then somehow Harley was able to withstand it. That's really stupid. Harley has some sort of version of her own fear toxin. I have no idea if this was just a comeback, but whatever. By the way, Nightmare Batman, pretty cool. I said it before, but I'm saying it again. Still pretty cool. Skip ahead. They somehow beat Batman with guns. I don't get that. They're shooting, you know, their fear or whatever. Like, I don't get it. Then Lex Luthor shaves his head. He creates gold kryptonite. Then we get the scene that no one ever wanted to see. Batman shot in the head by the weakest character ever, Harley Quinn. Then to sum up the rest of the game, the squad fights Superman, kills him. They try to high five, then realize they didn't fight Brainiac. And then instead of getting to the actual boss fight of Brainiac, we fight the Flash again. He just turns into him, and then Brainiac dies. Alright, this is future editing Bennjipie here. And something I want to clarify, you know, if you are this far into the video, either you agree or you really, really disagree. It could be any of that. It's up to you. But listen, okay, this game is alright. I don't really explain it here. I'm not gonna lie, after watching back and editing through everything and kind of, you know, getting what my thought process was when I had made this. And yeah, this game isn't really the greatest, but if you like it, you like it. You're allowed to like it. If you don't like it, that's completely okay. Just understand that, you know, when it's not me attacking or hate train, like there's nothing like that. It's just I don't really like this game, and this game was marketed in a specific way. Wasn't really marketed the correct way. It could have been done better, but I think they had to make it a part of the Arkhamverse to make it, you know, anywhat interesting. But yeah, you can like it or not like it, completely up to you. You know, you can hate it, up to you. Just don't take it the wrong way. It's just critiquing it because, you know, the way that I took it, some people may have taken it differently. So there you go. That's all. Also, I did see something lately from a lot of people. I believe it came from Comic Story and mostly of this theory, and then everyone just kind of has been talking about it on like TikTok and YouTube and all these other things. But the theory goes that, well, after the Justice League died, all that stuff, there's a lot of hints and certain things throughout the game, a lot of things that characters intentionally said, so it wasn't just bad game mechanics or anything, where certain things just didn't really work. Example, the Green Lantern ring not flying off as soon as Green Lantern died, Kryptonite not killing Superman, and Batman literally being able to withstand a ton of bullets without, like, really dying. Also, the Flash regained his thumb that got cut off at the start of the game when they originally had the actual good Flash, so, you know, there's that. This theory implies that basically Brainiac has them kidnapped and collected them, and he is duplicating them and recreating their DNA, certain things like that, modifying it, basically turning them into machines. If this is the case, that's great. I will, like, this video will stay up, but I will, you know, I sit on how this game is right now. This game is not really the greatest. So if all of this is true, they should have had all of these, you know, sorts of things, whatever it happens next, for the main story. After beating Brainiac, there was more to have, because Brainiac, I feel like, wasn't really the villain there. But yeah, that's all I have to say. That's enough of editing me. Now this is just, it's gonna cut, and it's just gonna be the end. It's gonna cut randomly, okay? It's just gonna... You know, I'd written it down, you know, to kind of come up with ideas for the future, but honestly, this game, there's just really no point. They're coming out with the Joker later. That's pretty cool. I don't really know what else to say. Like, this game isn't what people really expected it to be, especially when you market it as, like, Arkham and certain things like that, you know? So it's kind of like they dug themselves a hole. A lot of people I've also seen have come to the realization of, like, when you have multiple characters to focus on and or a multiplayer game, a lot of the quality and depth is really lost in translation, and it just becomes really shit. So as an example, this game would have probably been much better if it was single player and you just kind of happened to switch between them or something. I don't even think you really needed, you know, co-op or any of that. This game could have done pretty good by itself. I know I said, you know, I was going to talk about all the Batman stuff. I'm just going to say it now. They completely disrespected the Arkham Batman, like, entirely. Like, it was just all of the wrong choices. Now, I'm not someone who's thinking, you know, Kevin Conroy died, how dare you kill Batman? Like, listen, they couldn't predict that he was going to pass away, okay, guys? Understand that. But let's be honest, it's Arkham Batman. They teased, and, you know, as their main selling point is that, you know, it's Arkham Batman. And not only do they kill him, but they kill him in one of the worst way possible. Instead of it being like how Wonder Woman died, where she died fighting, they kill off all of, like Tim Drake, Nightwing, like all these guys, basically all off screen. I don't understand why they would do that at all. And not only that, but he is beaten super easily by guns and all of that shit. It just kind of makes no sense. There's also certain things, I'm not really going to show it, but I'll just describe it to you, kind of show some footage I've seen. There's a lot of tape replay sort of things, like you can listen to tapes of, you know, the Justice League talking before they were all evil. It's actually pretty cool. I do like that, but my fucking God, the fact that it was 3-2 and they still, like, they peacefully went to Brainiac's ship or something like that, and then they got mind controlled. Like, it was Superman's fault. I hope everyone understands that. This game was not the greatest. Didn't really like it. Now, I understand if they never use Arkham Batman again since Kevin Conroy passed, but as someone who looks ahead brightly, if they're going to make the game really good and it ends up becoming something amazing with a good voice actor, I wouldn't be opposed to having that Batman again. But let's be honest, if they do it, they're probably going to ruin it because they're not going to do it justice like they did for this game. And that's really all I have to say for this video. I don't really know if this was a rant necessarily. I did write pretty much a full script for this. I'm kind of, you know, going off book here now, but after having, you know, written everything down, watched all the stuff, gotten all the knowledge I need for this game, it's really not that fun. It's really not that cool. It's, you know, it's interesting concept. You know, Justice League is there, cool. We finally get to see the Arkham universe version of those characters. That's interesting. But then, like, the Suicide Squad, it's like, okay, the Suicide Squad genre or name is literally one, like, what would you call it? Like, 1 for 3. They've fucked up twice now, and they've only gotten one good one, and that's because of James Gunn with his movie. And that's just from, you know, social media sort of standpoint. Not really many people like that first Suicide Squad movie. So, yeah, there you go. Yeah, I'm not playing this game. I'm probably not going to ever play this game. Not ever going to make, you know, a video on it again, probably. Unless, you know, give it a couple years or something, they update the game, there's a lot of shit, then, you know, I do a video returning to it. You know, that's always possible. But, man, I feel bad for the people who spent $70. This game was not worth that much money. It was a $40 game with $30 to save for the item shop, or just save for a different game and refund it. I don't know what to tell you, but yeah. That's all. Like I said at the start of the video, if you disagreed or agreed with anything I had to say, comment it down below. Like, literally just comment. That's all you got to do. That's all I would like. If you could subscribe as well, that would be very greatly appreciated. I have this nice little animation here that I did. I took some time on that. And you see, you just press the button. You press it and it's subscribed. You'll probably forget about it, and that's completely okay. You can not even, you know, realize that you're subscribed, and you're like, oh, I've been subscribed this whole time. That's awesome. Or you're watching, you never even thought about it. Now's the time to subscribe. But yeah, comment, subscribe, that's all I ask. You know, like the video if you happen to, you know, want to. It's completely up to you. And yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. I hope you guys have a great, you know, day, night, weekend, weekday, month, year. Doesn't really matter. I hope it's great, though, for you guys. Anyways, I'm gonna go. Never fucking watch a single clip from this ever again. I'll see you guys. Peace.